Good morning, evening, and afternoon, depending on where you're viewing this video and when. My name is Robert D. Whitty, and I am a patent/intellectual property attorney. I'm located in the United States. The name of my company is DeWitty IP. Specifically, I'm located in Washington, D.C. I work out of a WeWork facility known as the Manhattan Laundry. We're right off of 14th Street. If you have any questions following this video, feel free to be in touch. I can be reached at my email right there, rmdwitty@gmail.com, as well as my Upwork link account. So I wanted to produce or write something related to my field of intellectual property, IP for short. This is a way to communicate certain principles to our clients and future clients in the way of IP, but also, and more importantly, I think this and future videos will be an interesting series of classes, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Firstly, if feedback is positive for this video, you can plan for at least one video a month, which we'll post here. And if desired, we may even hold an online course. We'll figure that out as we go along. But please, if you like it and benefit from it, let me know. So getting to the why, this will be an interesting series of classes. After having focused on intellectual property in law school, working in Asia and Europe in the field of intellectual property protection, working at the United States Patent Office and the World Intellectual Property Organization, I finally started to get into the theory of intellectual property protection. And that theory, I believe, is best emulated or captured by focusing on the why of intellectual property. So why basically is a series of questions a creator may ask themselves. For example, why pursue intellectual property protection in the first place? Why go through the process of locating an attorney to help? Why spend the money on intellectual property protection? Why not just make and sell a product and forget about intellectual property and then go on to the next project? These questions and others like it are what this series will cover. Most of us have a general understanding or some sort of experience with what intellectual property is. For example, a patent, which covers new inventions, new processes, new methods, and arguably, for example, a web-based application. Copyrights, which can protect new written works, artistic works, the look and feel of something, and even software code. Trademarks, which can cover logos, slogans, and generally identifying marks or information, and other types of intellectual property. For example, even domain names. Some of us even have an idea on how to protect the intellectual property. Usually this is done by filing a document with a government agency. For example, filing a patent application with the United States Patent Office. But the why we should get intellectual property is often missing. Lawyers assume that if you are coming to see them, you know why. And clients seldom ask a lawyer, why should I get this? But why ask why in the first place? The importance of understanding why is that it opens doors to different strategies and possibilities in order to take full advantage of one's intellectual property. Okay, Full stop. What do I mean by taking full advantage? In other words, why should I take full advantage of my intellectual property? And this is the topic for the first video. Why should I take full advantage of intellectual property? I should note that the why is different for each party, much as the how and what are different. But this at least hopes to get you thinking in a particular way. I've come to see intellectual property as a form of insurance, almost like an insurance policy. I suppose that makes me an insurance salesman, but that's okay. It's a funny type of insurance policy, though. It essentially says that if whatever you make, do, sell, or create is a success, this intellectual property, in the form of a patent, trademark, copyright, or other, can make you more successful. So, from a business point of view, a business perspective, the intellectual property can maximize what you get out of what you do. The maximization can be, for example, a monetary maximization, but there also may be other reasons for maximizing it too. And I'll give you a scenario showing other reasons why you may want to maximize it. Essentially, to put it in a formula, knowing the why of intellectual property, knowing why you're pursuing intellectual property, will allow you to figure out what type of intellectual property you may want to maximize. Again, patents, trademarks, copyrights, or other types. And eventually, it can lead to the how of protecting the intellectual property. Okay, so I promised you a scenario, and here it is. Say, for example, we have Joe. Joe has developed a social media online application that collects data from its users when they sign up to use it. And Joe has done quite well. In his first year, he has signed up 20,000 subscribers and is steadily growing at 1,000 subscribers a month. Joe is contacted by a data sourcer, a person who wants to access his data and is willing to pay Joe for it. Joe is now aware that his application is not only valuable, but the data that he is collecting is valuable. So the question arises to Joe. Why does he want to protect his intellectual property for the data? Why not just give it away? What happens if Joe gives away the data or sells the data? You might say it's out of his hands. Once it's gone, it's gone. So a good answer for Joe in his situation may be Joe wants to protect the intellectual property, which is the data in this case, because he wants to be able to control the data, control the use of the data. Another reason may be he wants to stop the data from being resold to another company, which would protect the interests of his subscribers. Whatever Joe's reasons, by Joe understanding why intellectual property maximizes the data, he can get into what can maximize it and how it's maximized. The why is different for each company, and the what and how are different as well. What and how generally take more significant time and are specific for the particular facts of each case. But as I mentioned before, I hope this initial video was helpful. Please be in touch and commenting me as to how we can further assist you in understanding more about intellectual property, as well as any other topics you'd like to discuss. Thank you very much.